All right, let's just get right into it. You know how it is. The golf industry is always trying to sell us the latest, shiniest new thing, right? Promising it's going to completely change our game. But what if I told you that a secret weapon for actually lowering your scores has been sitting on a used rack for the last decade? Yeah, today we're going to challenge that whole idea that newer is always better.
I mean, this is the question every single one of us has asked ourselves when we see the price tag on our brand new set of irons. The cost, it can be absolutely staggering. But is that crazy high price really buying you a better performance on the course? I mean, really, let's break it down.
And wow, this really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got this mountain of cash you need for the latest and greatest. And on the other, a proven, high-performance set from about 10 years ago for just a fraction of the cost. We are talking about the legendary Taylormade RBZ irons here. And honestly, that value proposition is it's impossible to ignore.
Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. The first reason these clubs are so special, particularly if you're a senior golfer, it really tackles that #1 frustration that, let's be honest, a lot of us face as we get older, and that's losing that precious distance we used to have.
So, here it is. This right here is the revolutionary tech that's really at the heart of these irons. If you look right at the bottom of the club head, you can see that little slot. Well, that's called the speed pocket. And believe me, it is the engine that drives the incredible distance you can get from this club. So how in the world does it work? Well, think of it almost like a hinge. When you hit the ball, that little slot lets the entire face flex inward, and then bam! It springs back with all this explosive energy. It creates this awesome trampoline effect, which launches the ball with way more speed than a normal rigid club face ever could. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, right? It shows exactly why that trampoline effect is so darn important. Let's face it, most of us, we're not generating Rory McIlroy's swing speed. This tech was built specifically to max out ball speed for the rest of us. You know, players swinging under 85 miles an hour. It lets the club do the heavy lifting.
So what does all this mean for you out on the course? Well, the Speed Pocket delivers some real tangible benefits. It boosts your ball speed, for sure. It saves your butt on those thin shots by keeping the speed up, and honestly, it just makes solid contact feel completely effortless.
Okay, but distance is only half the battle, right? If you're not consistent, all that extra yardage doesn't really help you score. And that's where forgiveness comes in. It's what turns those frustrating mishits into shots that are still totally playable. And you know what? That's what makes the game fun again.
The secret sauce behind all this forgiveness is something called inverted cone technology. I know, it's a fancy name, but the idea is actually super simple. Instead of having one tiny little sweet spot right in the middle of the face, this design basically stretches that sweet spot out across a much bigger area. So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, over on the left, you've got a classic blade iron. You miss the center by even a little bit, and that shot is toast. You lose a ton of distance, a ton of accuracy. But then look at the RBZ on the right. A shot hit off the toe or the heel? It's way less punishing. In fact, it still performs remarkably well.
And that's the bottom line. It is literally the difference between your ball dying 20 yards short in a bunker and still finding the front of the green. For most of us, that difference is everything. It's how you keep scores down and keep from wanting to throw your clubs in the lake.
All right, let's talk about another common struggle. We've all been there, especially with the long irons, just trying to get the ball to launch high enough to actually hold the green. Well, guess what? The RBZ irons were engineered to solve that exact problem. And the secret here is all in the design of the sole. See how wide that is? That design does something really important. It pushes the club's center of gravity, the CG, way down low and far back from the face. The physics are pretty simple. That low weight helps you get under the ball and just pop it right up in the air. Easy.
So that wide sole gives you 3 huge advantages. First, it just helps you launch the ball high, plain and simple. Second, that high flight means the ball lands softly on the green instead of skipping over. And third, think of it like an insurance policy. It helps the club glide through the turf instead of digging in if you hit it a little heavy.
Okay, so we've talked speed, we've talked forgiveness, we've talked high launch. Now let's bring it all home and talk about the final and maybe the most compelling piece of this entire puzzle, the value.
When you boil it all down, this is the number that just jumps off the page. By choosing a great used set like these RBZs, you could be putting around $1,000 back in your pocket. Now that is a powerful incentive. And this chart really lays it out, side by side. Okay, sure, a brand new 2025 set might get you, 3 to 5 extra yards, but look at the trade-off.
You're paying an enormous premium for a tiny, tiny gain. Meanwhile, the forgiveness is basically the same, and the value you get from the used set is just, well, it's exceptional. There's no other word for it.
All right, so if you're thinking, okay, I'm in, here is your action plan. When you're shopping for a used set, number 1, check the grips. They're usually the first thing to go, so plan on maybe 50 or 60 bucks to replace them. Number 2, look for those lighter 65-gram graphite shafts. They're just perfect for more moderate swing speeds. And finally, get the right flex. For most senior players, that's going to be an M for senior or an R for regular. Just stay away from the S for stiff unless you're still really bombing it.
And hey, one last really crucial tip. Because of that speed pocket we talked about, these irons are hot. I mean, the ball really jumps off the face. So please, before you take him to the course, spend some quality time at the driving range to figure out your new distances. I'm not kidding, you might be hitting them a full club longer than your old set.
So what's the final verdict on these Taylormade RBZ irons? Even after 10 years? It's crystal clear. They are absolute winners for the senior golfer. You get the high launch, you get incredible forgiveness, and you get distance that can honestly rival the brand new stuff. It's everything you need to play better and have more fun, all at a price you just can't beat.
You know, it really makes you stop and think about your own bag, doesn't it? What really matters in your equipment? Is it the year it came out? Or is it the actual performance it delivers for your swing? Sometimes the best secret weapon isn't the newest thing out there. It's the one that was perfectly designed for your game from the start.